What does it mean? Two girls with green eyes. Welcome to Should You Watch This with the Popcorn Priest, a weekly podcast where movie enthusiasts, ex-movie theater projectionists, new and old friends take the time to talk about a movie that we just watched and answer that very question, should or shouldn't you watch this? You know what Jack Burton always says in a podcast like this? Have you paid your dues? Yes, sir. The check is in the mail.
This is Jack Burton in the Pork Chop Express, and I'm talking to whoever's listening out there. It's a pretty amazing planet we live on here, and a man would have to be some kind of fool to think we're all alone in this universe.
There is a hidden world where ancient evil weaves a modern mystery.
What's going on here? Is this some kind of...
Magic. The darkest magic.
They call it Little China.
Finally, we shall bring order out of chaos.
It's where big trouble was waiting for Jack Burton.
Who? Jack Burton. Me.
Jack!
Jack?
Jack!
They told him to go to hell.
You make one move.
And that's just where he's going.
Somebody, I don't care who, tell me what is going on.
How are you gonna spring us?
I have no idea.
Joining me all the way from Brazil again is reoccurring guest, Dan Sacklunch the Coolidge. Welcome back to the show, my man.
Thanks, brother. Always a pleasure. You know how much I love being on the pod. So we had to reschedule a couple of times, for the time difference really kind of screwed things up. But I appreciate you sticking with me.
Freaking daylight savings should be gone. Let's get rid of it.
Yes, gone.
Yeah, so now you're 4 hours ahead of me in Utah. So that sucks.
4 hours. No, it's it definitely makes it difficult, but I'm always glad that we can find the time to do this because I love to be on the pod.
Yeah, dude, this is great, and this is my pick. A rough and tumble trucker helps rescue his friend's fiancée from an ancient sorcerer in a supernatural battle beneath Chinatown. Big Trouble in Little China from 1986. Directed by John Carpenter, director of The Thing, They Live, and Escape from New York, to name a few. There's a couple other stinkers in there, but he's done some really awesome movies. Top billed stars Kurt Russell, Kim Cattrall, Dennis Dunn, and James Hong as David Lopan. Runtime of 1 hour and 39 minutes, rated PG-13. Genre on Rotten Tomatoes says horror/sci-fi, and IMDb says action adventure comedy. Those are completely different. I like IMDb's
what is
better.
Yeah, what did Rotten Tomatoes say it was?
Horror/sci-fi. Yeah, I don't agree with that at all.
Because of Carpenter?
Maybe.
It's gotta be.
Yeah.
It's gotta be. He's the king of horror, right?
Action adventure comedy is pretty spot on, I think. With
yeah, without question.
Speaking of IMDb, they give it a 6.5 out of 10 from 288,000 reviews. Rotten Tomatoes gives it a 75% from 62 critic ratings and 82% from 100,000 plus audience ratings. And that surprised me.
Which part? The low rating on IMDb?
Well, that's not super low. Anything between 6 and 7 is pretty good on IMDb. Anything between 7 and
53 meta.
Yeah, but I don't really look at that, man. I just like looking at the IMDb score, and then I like looking at the Rotten Tomatoes score. And again, these are just kind of, I don't know, so you can kind of get a range, but I don't really, it just helps me. I look at it and sometimes I don't care.
How much of that is nostalgia, do you think? Like the higher rating, the 82%.
Well, 75
rating
is pretty high.
Yeah.
I mean,
but how much is nostalgia?
I mean, I don't know. I didn't look at all the 62 ratings of which ones are current, but that's aggregate, right? They add in scores because I just checked it yesterday and it's actually now at 74%. So it went down 1% from when I did my research. So it wasn't
me, I promise.
It's fluctuating, but even still, like maybe a little bit of nostalgia. I don't know. I was just surprised that it's so high because it's such a unique movie. Like
super unique.
There's like a mashup of like 5 genres, and it's just different. That's why it was surprising to me.
Well, and like the comedy part, right? That slid in on IMDb. I'd say the comedy in this is super subtle, but like,
well, and then there's unintentional comedy too, right?
100%.
There's some stuff that's funny that's not supposed to be funny.
Super subtle.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Where to watch this right now? The time of this recording, you can only rent or buy this, or permanently on Popflix if you choose the highest tier of our
Popflix.
Yeah, exactly. Did you watched it on Popflix?
Yeah, man, I love Popflix.
If you choose the highest tier of our Patreon account, you'll have access to the Popcorn Priest permanent collection. Go to patreon.com/Popcorn Priest. And also, why isn't there a 4K Blu-ray of this out already? Come on, John Carpenter. Give me a break.
I will say, though, like the quality on Popflix, it surprised me, right? The very opening scene, I was like, wow. Like, this does not look 80s quality.
Well, it is.
So that was impressive.
What I put on my server is a Blu-ray quality, which I think it actually is 720p, okay, which is still really good, between 720p and 1080p. But like, I want a 4K, man. I got a huge screen. I need all those Ks, man.
Can I give just a little bit of a shameless plug for you again on the Popflix? Here, look, my father always references a funny meme when it comes to Netflix. It's something like, well, we don't leave for dinner for another 45 minutes, so do you want to try to find a movie to watch on Netflix? Because that'll burn 45 minutes.
Oh, yeah.
So, whenever I go to Popflix, I always am like, oh my gosh, I'd love to watch that. I'll watch that right now. Oh, I'll watch that right now. Oh, I'll watch that right now. I'll watch that right now. Like, you don't get inundated with junk. Yeah,
I mean, granted, we're about the same age. You're a little younger than I am, but like we like the same things. So I've added like 3 or 4 movies a week usually, or actually every couple of weeks I'll add 3 or 4 titles. But yeah, I always try to add something that I would watch at least more than one time. I don't like putting stuff on there that I'm not like, oh man, I'm only going to watch this once. So I don't put that stuff on there.
No, but it's good. So anyways, shameless plug.
Yeah, Popflix. That's my own personal name for my server at my house. So that's what you'd be watching. And it is pretty good. The Blu-ray looks really good. I just wish that there was a higher quality of it. So, and what this brings us to our hottest segment on podcasting right now is should or shouldn't you watch this? 5 reasons why you should watch this. You can add yours whenever you want, Dan. But number 1 is Kurt Russell. Number 2, Kung Fu. That's all I have to say. Number 3, the supernatural stuff and like the weird creatures. that eyeball guy. Like,
the eyeball, yeah.
Dude. And I'll get into by the numbers in a second, but the budget was cut and he had way more creature stuff that he couldn't put in because of, time and money. Mm-hmm. Number 3, the music is amazing. Like,
always.
We're going to get into some of that here in a minute, but I've got some some music clips that I got. We have to break down for a second, but the music is really great. Number 5, all of Egg Shen's lines are like, anytime Egg Shen's talking, it's usually like, that is awesome, or what did he just say? So here's one quote from Egg Shen. Of course, the Chinese mix up everything. Look at what they have to work with. There's Buddhism, Confucianism, and Taoist alchemy and sorcery. We take what we want and leave the rest, just like your salad bar. It's like that through the whole movie. This guy is so great.
He really is. And like, he's quintessential old man Asian 80s. Like, if there's an 80s movie that required an old Chinese
it's
man.
either him or the guy who plays Lo Pan.
Yes. James Hong.
Yeah. It's either him or James Hong. So, and
Absolutely.
I love Egg's one eye that's kind of like, it's like squinty but bulbous. It's so great. And he's kind of always looking at it.
He's a treasure.
Yeah, he's a treasure. National treasure.
No doubt.
Any other reasons why you should watch this that we missed?
Well, so your first one was Kurt Russell.
Yeah, for sure.
Would you say, and I totally agree, but when it comes to Kurt Russell, would you say, is he 80s, 90s, or post 2000s? Like, when you think of Kurt Russell, do you immediately go to the 80s or the 90s? Because he's been in a lot of amazing movies.
I would say it's a toss-up for me for the 80s and the late, after the 2000s.
The post 2000s.
Yeah, because he's
had some Tarantino.
Yeah, the Tarantino stuff. He's done some really cool. My kids love him as Santa Claus in the Netflix Santa Claus movie. Mm-hmm. He's really good in that. But like, I can watch him. He's kind of one of those guys like Vince Vaughn, where no matter what he's in, I can love it. Like Overboard, it's just a silly, dumb movie, but I'll watch that many times.
Yeah, no, it's great
because of him.
Obviously, Tombstone.
Yeah, Tombstone.
Tombstone was 90s, right?
Yeah, that's true.
That's one that you often forget. Stargate, Escape from LA, later did Escape from New York, 3,000 Miles to Grace. Like he in the 90s, he was great.
Yeah, maybe he's just been around forever.
He's so effortless too. Like you watch him on like Deep Event Horizon?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And it seems so natural for him. So he's great. But I think that I would picture him as 80s.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I agree with that. I feel like he's a dude. I would just love to just hang out with Kurt Russell.
Yeah.
Like
watch Tombstone with Kurt Russell.
Go to his house. It just seems like he would be a really chill dude. Even at his age now, like not just hanging out with him, when he was in the 80s, but like hanging out with Kurt Russell right now would be dope.
Yeah. So that's like I love the list. I always agree with the list. I should say always, but
not always.
Completely agree. Like, look, like if you're talking about 80s, you're always going to bring up soundtracks, and we've talked about this before with some of the JCB movies, and it just, man, 80s is so good. So no, I love that. I love that list.
Bro, do you want to get into music right now before we get into by the numbers?
I mean, I don't see why we wouldn't. I don't know why we haven't already.
Okay, here, before I play this, I'm going to pose a question. Was Jack Burton ahead of his time? Was he just an OG podcaster? I mean, listen.
Yeah.
Listen to this for totally multiple reasons.
I already love it.
It's like John Carpenter did this. Okay. This is his score. He did the music.
Jack Burton and the Pork Chop
And then you
Express,
add
and I'm
this.
talking to whoever's listening out there.
Like I told my last wife, I says, honey, I never drive faster than I can see. Besides that, it's all in the reflexes. You just listen to the old Pork Chop Express and take his advice on a dark and stormy night, all right? When some
love that he's
wild-eyed
eating a
eight-foot-tall
sandwich.
maniac grabs your neck, taps the back of your favorite head up against a barroom wall, and he looks you crooked in the eye, and he asks you if you've paid your dues. Well, you just stare that big sucker right back in the eye, and you remember what old Jack Burton always says at a time like that. Have you paid your dues, Jack?
Have you paid
Yes, sir.
your
The
dues?
check is in the mail.
So not only do you have this amazing theme that John Carpenter wrote and performed, but you've got Jack Burton on the Pork Chop Express. He's an OG podcaster, dude.
Do you think so? The last pod that we did a few weeks ago, like one of the most quotable movies alive, right? We referenced that in the podcast. Do you think if we were, in our late 20s, early 30s when this movie came out, we would be quoting this movie similar to how we quote Old School?
I mean, I don't know.
Have you paid your dues, bro?
The check
what I
is in the
wanna
mail. I swear, I say it's all in the reflexes, like all the time.
I'm just gonna start answering the check is in the mail to like just the randomest questions.
And it's so great.
It doesn't even matter. Like, are you hungry? The check is in the mail. Okay, like, come on.
Well, it's even better now because, I mean, who sends a check in the mail these days? But
Right.
This is great on so many levels.
I'm serious. I'm gonna start quoting it.
Yeah, you should. And to be honest, when you see it's all in the reflexes, that first scene where he and what's his name? The not Egg Chen, but his buddy
Wang Chi?
Wang. Yeah, Wang.
Wang.
He when he hits the bottle with the knife, it's so awesome.
Oh, yeah.
That scene is so great. It's like the first thing that sets up those two characters, and oh man, I can't get enough of it.
No, I'm with you.
So here's the other song that I want to break down. And this one, again, this is John Carpenter. And if you look up the music video, it is insane. It's like...
Is this from the credits?
Yes. So this is John Carpenter and his buddies, and they're like in cardigans with like giant collar shirts. They're like old guys with old balding heads, and they're rocking out to this song, dude.
Look, if you hear me typing, it's because I got to see that.
This is these guys rocking it out, and it's the director. We're not going to listen to all of it, but I want to get to the hook. It's him singing it too. This is John Carpenter. And it's like intermixed with parts of the movie.
Right.
There's a spot where... Oh, here it is.
Amazing. Big trouble.
Dude, there's one spot in the music video where this guy, I don't know if it's the drummer or whatever, the guitar guy, he goes in the back room and he grabs one of the like film reels. He opens it up and it's like this superimposed image of the eyeball brain guy. And he's like, oh, and he shuts it. It's so great. Like, what do you think about this song? It's like great,
Bro.
but also horrible at the same time.
But like, isn't that what this movie is? Like like if you go into this thinking that this is a serious movie by any stretch, you're gonna be like, what?
Yeah.
Man, this is horrible acting. Like the song just plays perfectly with the movie.
Yeah.
I mean, the movie is so good, man. It's so good.
And it's just this trope in the 80s of the classic theme where it repeats the name of the song. Like
Right.
Ghostbusters, like whatever the song is, they have to put the song in or the name of the movie in it. Yeah.
No, but come on, like 80s music, like everybody loves the 80s.
It's great.
Just everything about the 80s is timeless.
And I feel like
So, of course
we're
I
getting
love it.
pandered to right now. We're getting pandered to right now. Like that's all we get is this nostalgia 80s throwback stuff with like Stranger Things.
There's nothing original.
Yeah,
right.
well, yeah.
There's nothing original anymore. And I think that's why when we go back to these types of movies, man, they're timeless. They're absolutely timeless. And not only that, but could you make this movie today? Like, would China allow them to make this movie today?
Bro, I don't know for sure, but there's rumors on the internet that The Rock is trying to remake Big Trouble in Little China.
Really?
Yeah. And
I'm trying to picture that. I think I would dig it, bro.
I kind of want to sign a petition that doesn't get made.
That bans it.
Because I don't think they can capture it. I think they'll try and it'll be either too serious or too, I don't know, man.
They won't make it as subtle, right? Like they'll try to probably do potty humor. Like if you were to ask me to describe this movie, I would say that it's the Goonies grown up living in a trailer park.
And come on, Ghostbusters. It's like
I mean both, absolutely.
I mean, the same effects company worked on this that worked on Ghostbusters.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so it kind of feels the same. And dude, the effects are really good. Like I know there's some stuff that's kind of janky, but for the most part, it holds up really well.
No, look, the last thing I wrote in my notes in my show notes, I put the Beast, F CGI effects. That's what I wrote.
I mean, that was a weird looking beast.
Right, but I love when they don't do CGI effects. It's like that's what ruined that Star Wars with Jar Jar Binks for me. It was terrible.
Yeah.
Terrible because of CGI. So,
yeah, there's a lot of ways you can make it approachable and usually when movies have a constraint, like there's a budget constraint, they come up with these great ideas on how to make something look cool, even though, they don't have to rely on a crutch of some kind and they are more they have more ingenuity to figure stuff out, right, which is great.
No, I agree.
Well, with our music section out of the way, we're going to get into Popcorn by the Numbers.
For God's sakes, just give me the damn number!
All right. I moved Box Office Hall into Popcorn by the Numbers because it's a number.
I didn't look this up on purpose.
Okay. All right. So then tell me what the budget is.
Like guess?
Yeah, just guess.
Boy, for 86, I'd probably say 35 million.
That's a pretty good guess. I mean, I think he would have wanted 35 million. He only had 20 million on this one.
Okay.
And it only had a box office haul of 11.1 million, dude.
Really?
Yeah. And it was released 16 days before Aliens was released. I mean, it went on to be a huge cult hit through home video. And I tried to look it up, because I remember looking up stats on like Rambo when it came out on video. It was like $89 to buy, and it was the number one beta and VHS at the time. And I was trying to see if I could find anything about Big Trouble in Little China, because I feel like there was like one kid in the neighborhood who had it, and we just like broke the tape because we watched it so many times. Because I feel like, right?
But wouldn't you rather have watched this at home? Like, do you think this is the type of movie? Because it takes the right kind of person to enjoy this. And if I'm in a theater with people that don't like to laugh, then it might take away some of the shine, So
Yeah.
but that's still surprising. Like to do half your budget.
Yeah.
Yikes.
Yeah, it sucked. And
Yikes.
Carpenter and Russell both explained that the reason that they feel like it bombed was the studio did little to promote the film because they simply didn't know how to promote it. They didn't know. It was like, what is this? I feel like that's the same thing of a really cult classic that I like as a kid was Monster Squad. It had the same thing. It was like, do we, market it to little kids? Because it's kind of scary, but we can't market it to adults because it's like these kids are just in a monster club. It's like
such a Halloween movie too.
Yeah, so
for me,
yeah, for sure. But like that was the same thing. It like never rose out of that, funk because
cult classic. But this is better than a cult classic. Like,
yeah,
you can't throw a rock and not hit somebody that at least that are in their 30s or older that's seen, and everybody you talk to loves this movie. So
yeah.
But look, you and I both like to dig and find different things on the movies that we pick. So you might have found this, but you said something that reminded me of something that I read. You said they didn't know how to market this because they didn't really know what it was. One of the actors, and tell me if you found this as well, one of the actors that played Rain, which was one of the lieutenants for Lopan, he took it so seriously that they said that he didn't realize that it was a comedy until the fight scene with Wang, where Wang raises his eyebrows twice. And that's when he realized, oh my gosh, we're in a comedy.
Oh, I didn't read that. Which one? One of the three storms, like one of the three guys?
Yeah, Rain.
Oh, the thunder guy, with the lightning.
I don't think it was the lightning guy, but one of those
guys.
They call him a lieutenant. Yeah.
Okay, that's really interesting. I didn't know that.
Yeah, it is a little confusing on what it is exactly.
Yeah, I agree. What do you think the body count is? This is by the numbers.
I would put the opening body count scene, by the way, is so epic.
It's really great.
It's so epic.
It was 46. 46.
Total? No.
Yeah, I think that seems high.
No way, that's low.
You think that's
I'm
low?
going to watch it again right after this just to see if it was 46, because that opening scene alone, there was at least 15 to 16.
Yeah, well, yeah, maybe there's way more than this.
So you're telling me there was only 30 more that died?
Yeah.
No way.
That's what I'm telling you. My crack research team, they never mess up, dude.
No way. No way. No way. Man, I'm calling them to the carpet. You tell that research team. 46, that surprises me, though.
Yeah, it surprises me, too. This, I felt like was an honorable mention because it's not a number, but it's Chinese characters. I don't know if that fits, but I'm letting it. The Chinese characters in the main title translate to evil spirits make a big scene in little spiritual state. And I really want to have a t-shirt that is the main title of with the like Chinese characters and then the Asian writing of Big Trouble in Little China. That looks awesome.
Oh, I'm sitting here thinking you were talking about like characters in the movie.
Oh
not
no, like actual Chinese writing
characters.
Yeah, the writing.
Because I was like, well, wait a minute, because most of the Chinese actors, they actually look super white. So I'm really confused.
No, we're still in by the numbers. So. Yeah, the main title sequence where it shows the title of the movie, there's like Asian characters in the middle of the title of the movie, and that's what it says.
I got an Easter egg about Chinese characters, but I'll save it for later.
I have one too, but let's save it.
Oh, we both have the same one.
I think it's the same one. Yeah.
Yeah.
I only have one more by the numbers, and then we will have to say goodbye and come back next week for our spoilery review. Unless there's anything else you want to talk about with by the numbers or just generally about the movie.
No, I think that's a solid start.
So we've got this movie was originally set in 1880, but then the writers were basically forced out, and new ones rewrote everything except for the Lo Pan character and updated it to modern day. And I'm kind of glad that they did.
Yeah. I don't see how this works in 1880. And I also read somewhere that it was supposed to be San Francisco, but they switched it to New York.
Oh, yeah. Was it San Francisco?
Well, it shows them on, I thought, the Brooklyn Bridge going into the city.
Yeah, not New York. It's in San Francisco, not New York.
It is?
Yeah.
I thought it was.
I swear, because she has to go get the chicks from the airport. I swear it's San Francisco.
New York has an airport.
Yeah. Anything you want to keep cool, Tommy? Yeah, maybe I'm wrong. We need to fact check this.
We do. We need a fact checking segment for sure.
Jeez. Well, at this point, there may be some spoilers up ahead, so you want to come back next week for the rest of the story of our breakdown of Big Trouble in Little China from 1986. Join us next week.
See y'all next week.
We better run it through the mystic